Hi.
Hello. Hello. It's always that awkward one of how do we start? And now it's making it awkward on purpose because it's
I'm not bothered anymore now. It doesn't bother me. I'm used to it.
So what are we talking about
today? I want to talk about. I went and spoke at the Talent Foundry. Asked if I would go and speak as like a mentor to children around the area who are in like year 10.
Yeah.
Thinking what they want to do with a career, like what they want to do for the rest of their life. And it was at the Teesside Uni and then at Middlesbrough Football Club. And the last one was last week. And it just made me really think about how, like, you sort of put yourself in a box when you're younger. I know I did. Not everyone does that, but like some people know exactly what they want to do. Some people have no clue. I know I just wanted to be something that people would think was respectful. So I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a solicitor. I wanted to be an accountant. Something that sounded like I was clever or posh or not from MO. But I didn't end up, obviously. I did try and do that, like, and I did loads of different things, and I ended up doing this, and it's been the best thing I've ever done in my life, and I'm so glad I found it. But I think there's a lot of pressure put on people from a very young age to, be good at school, which they should be good at school, and you should try your hardest, but not necessarily being academically intelligent means that you're not going to have a successful life. Yeah. You should always try and look after what you want and what will make you happy. So I just wanted to talk about the route into insurance isn't always straightforward, and it's not a career that people would normally go to, but it's been the best thing that I've ever done. And then after obviously speaking to other people and having my own advisors come from no background of insurance, just doing it, they absolutely love it and they say it's the best thing they've ever done. So, it's people out there who might want to change in a career, who might think that they could be needing something that's more flexible for them and gives them more opportunities to grow the career, then insurance might be really good for them.
And so what was the stuff that was brought up a lot? Because if you're talking to was it university students? Yeah.
No, it was year 10 students. So it was like, it was in secondary school, like just next year is the last year in secondary. And it was so weird, like, because I honestly remember being that age, like sitting there and feeling like I was ancient, because I was like, I shouldn't be this old sat next to you now. Like, I remember being you, and they were like asking me questions and things like what I do, like if I've got kids and how I did it, and they were like, oh, you've got to go to college, or you've got to go to uni. Some of them want to do an apprenticeship, but a lot of them don't really know what they want to do. And it's like trying to explain to them, you don't need to know what you want to do yet. You just need to know that you understand what you need to do to make you happy. So then I didn't. I went to college to do philosophy, biology, and chemistry. I did, because I want to be a doctor. I said I want to be a doctor. Can't stand chemistry or biology. Can't bear it. But I did it because I wanted to be a doctor. Then I did accountancy. Can you actually imagine me working in accountants? Like, how quiet. It'd be horrendous. Like, I did about a year of that. Hated that. Mind-blowingly boring. No offense to any accountants, but I just couldn't do it. And then I ended up just getting a job that I wanted, because I knew I wanted to earn money. And that's what, like me, I knew I always wanted to earn money. I loved earning money. I loved feeling like I was trying to get to a target, to a point. Like, I wanted to earn what I could and then do other things as well. And I wanted to run my own business. And it's like trying to explain to people that you're not always going to, especially younger people. Like I say to Jackson, I always want him to do well, and I always want to know he's tried his hardest. But as long as I know he's put his effort into it and he's tried 100%, then that's all I care about. If he comes home and he hasn't done well in his English exam, it's not because he doesn't give a shit. It's because that's not how his brain ticks. Like, he hasn't got a passion for English. He's got a passion for sport. So he's going to do mint in sport. And it's not always a bad thing to just concentrate on that rather than trying to be something you're not.
I think that's really, I love that advice. I completely know exactly what you're saying, because it's weird as well when you have a kid now, because like I look at that now with, like, I was like you, the same thing, but I just was bouncing around, and I actually been asked. I might do it now after listening to hear you say that, because I've been asked by one of the schools here to do that type of talk to year 11s, and I haven't got around to doing it. because I also was like, how the hell, when they're like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't really know how to put that in like into words, because it's like, well, what do you do? Well, I'm a marketing guy who does, it's a hard thing, but I also look and think there's a responsibility for like someone like you and like someone like me, I guess, probably think I should now after listening to you, is that idea of like when I was at school, I had no idea.
What, you didn't get anything, did you? You didn't get, I remember, you don't get anyone telling you what, unless you've got people around you who are going to support you and give you ideas, really, what are you doing? And the students there, some of them knew what they wanted to do. They didn't know how to do it, or they didn't have confidence in themselves to do it, which is like, it just melts your heart. Like, you just want to show them they've got something really good in them and they've got loads of potential, but they don't see it themselves. And then, like, there was other people who, oh, well, like when I said to them, oh, well, I went to college, dropped out after 6 months, and I did an apprenticeship, dropped that after a year. Then I did, and they were like, oh my God. And then they're like, so what you do now? And I was telling them, they were like, so how old were you when you did that? And I was like, I was 30 when I started. And they couldn't get their head around it, because obviously to them, I'm old. Like, and I was saying, like, when I come home and I was talking, I was like, I remember being that age and thinking that 30-year-old was old. Like, how old are you? Like, I can't believe it. Whereas now,
Billy's probably looking at you right now thinking you're old. You know?
Millie thinks I'm old as hell, don't you? Old cow.
I tell you what, you want to say that? I felt like that when Millie came on the podcast and the show. I'm an old bloke.
I was walking out with her the other day and I went, I'm actually old enough to be your mother. She went, I know. I was like, thanks. But it's not, I don't know, like not everyone's got that. Like, not everyone, I suppose, not everyone understands what you want. And I don't think anyone really understood what I wanted. Like, my dad did a bit. My dad was very, like, pushy in terms, not pushy, but like encouraging in terms of, you don't just want to settle and just have a normal job. You need to do that. You've got so much potential. You need to do this, you need to do that. But he didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't. Like, honestly, I want to be everything. I want to be a stockbroker as well. Like,
well, I don't think you know what I wanted to work in marketing from a long time ago, and you know what? It was because there was you remember oh gosh, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Film?
Well, where the lady, where she does the Nike running app, the Nike, the advertisement for the ladies running the road.
Yeah, and I was like, they are they were in marketing. I was like,
it's just her and the road.
and it's the Frost Yourself one when they talk about the jewels and things. But I remember watching that and going, well, that looks cool, and that was it. Like, that's what you do when you're a kid. You think, one of my best mates is a lawyer, and he only did it because he used to like lawyer programs as a kid. I thought you were going
to say like liar there.
Oh no. But he like hates his job. But you go, because I think when you're a kid, and I think that's why it's good to have people like you come in, is that when you're a child or a student at school, you just assume, like I know with me, I was like, there's just one career. And it's even felt like that when I was in performing, like acting and stuff, like it genuinely was like, well, there's only one other career, which is a estate agency. And that was just purely because my dad worked in finance and he would sit in an estate agency office. And so for me, it was like, well, there's only two jobs in this world. There's only actors, singing, performing, or estate agents. You don't think that way. You don't think like the broad. It was only after becoming a mortgage advisor where I would meet people and their jobs and be like, well, that sounds cool. How does that work? And then after doing that for a number of years, I was like, they sound much cooler than the thing I'm currently doing right now.
You get so much more. Like, I was saying this to the students, like you get so much from life experience. Like, unless you're one of those people who from being young, you know what you want to do and that's it, and you're so passionate about it, then 9 times out of 10 you fall into what you do by accident. Like, you're not planning to do it. I certainly didn't plan to do insurance, and even after, like, people who are in a career now that they don't enjoy or they don't feel like they're getting anything out of it. I always say about, when you were at school, you always did well in the lessons where you like your teacher. If you've got a boss who you can't stand, or you've got, you work with people who you don't enjoy being around, or you're doing a job that doesn't like, I don't know, like motivate your brain, you're not going to enjoy what you're doing, and you're working for 70% of your life. Why are you doing that? Like, why? I'll never ever understand that. Like, I get that people have got to pay bills, but then try and do something else in the meantime, because you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. And if you don't enjoy it, you need to change it, because it's just, what a waste.
And so with that, I agree with you completely. With that, then, about career and insurance, how like what advice would you give to somebody like a student or even somebody say watching this who's in a career they don't like? What advice would you give to them on moving across to start this career? Because you obviously have done it and did it from working selling
I
kitchens.
think with insurance, I might be wrong, but I think with insurance, you either really love it and get it, or you don't like it and you don't understand it. It's quite like love or hate. Like, I absolutely. Do you agree? Yeah, like Marmite. Yeah, like I can't. I just adore it. Everything about it. Every time I hear about it and I think about it, I'm like, I can't believe that people don't know about this. Like, it really like pushes me. Meg can't stand it. Doesn't matter. And I'm studying her all day going on about like how amazing it is and how brilliant it is. And she's like, I can't bear it. Like, just don't even speak to me about it. And that's not because she doesn't believe in the product. It's because it doesn't, what's the word? Not motivate. It doesn't excite her.
Yeah,
It doesn't inspire her. It doesn't get her like, it doesn't get her thinking. And I think anyone who is genuinely interested in insurance, whether that's just because you believe in it as from a customer's point of view, I think you should look at it, because all it is insurance is basically speaking to people, building relationships and advising them on what's available. Now, the hardest part is finding advisors who are passionate about the product, who care. If you understand the product and you believe in it, then you're going to be better at making sure that you can advise other people on it. And I honestly, loads of people who I've spoke to, and I do want to take on more advisors, like definitely that is something I want to do. But when you speak to people and they say, you know, you can just tell even like when you've got a client who genuinely gets it, you know, like you don't have to explain it in loads of detail. Just like, yeah, of course, like obviously I want critical illness cover, like cancer's 1 and 2, and you know, and I want to make sure my children are covered, because if my children were critically ill, I couldn't work. And I already think when I'm on the phone, you would be mint at advising, because they already get it. They get it. It's not a hard thing to do. It really isn't. The actual job itself, I don't think's hard. That might be because I love it. So when you enjoy something, it doesn't seem like it's hard. But I think if someone actually understands what it means and it registers in the brain, I think they're already halfway set to being a good advisor anyway. Then it's just trying to like fill in the gaps with the information. But you can't create passion for something, can you? You can't make someone think something's good.
Yeah, no, I think you see that. I remember seeing that. Like it's like with the state agency, a lot of people have worked in sales. A lot of people have worked in recruitment, a state agency, or car sales. Seems to be that. And the state agency move into, if they become agents, and if they stick around, they might become a mortgage advisor.
So shall I tell you what mine were? My backgrounds are. What was your job? For what?
So I worked in probation, then in the NHS.
Probation and NHS.
Yeah.
Then we had a mental health nurse.
NHS.
Then we had police officer / motivational speaker.
Right, yeah.
And then we had Millie fresh out of school. And then we had someone who worked in a school.
So you're from very service-based. So it seems to be this very service-based.
Oh, was it I too? And I sold kitchens. Mm.
Massive service, you know. Police, kitchen salesman.
Yeah,
How long?
And they love it. Like all of them are like, they absolutely buzz off it. Oh, and that's the same, isn't it? Admin council work, and they're all service. Yeah, so that means that like we had no experience in it whatsoever, and I think people sometimes believe that you need to have experience in insurance or in finance to be able to do this job, and you definitely do not. I would much rather take on someone who doesn't have any experience in it and is fresh with a clear mindset, because then you're not going to have any bad habits from other firms. But that being said, genuinely, for anyone who does listen to this, it really bothers me that you could be in a firm or working in an agency that you don't agree with what they're doing, or you don't like the way they do things, and you think, well, I can't say anything because I can't say anything to my network because my network are loyal to the firm. Mm-hmm. If the company don't have a HR or anything like that, who do you talk to, who do you speak to? Please just message me and ask me if you think something's right, or if you don't agree with something, you want some advice on it, please just message me on LinkedIn and ask, because you get that a lot, you know, where people are like, I really want to do this, but obviously I can't speak to my manager, or I can't do this, or I don't really agree with it. And I'm like, really, where do you go? Because a lot of it is self-employed.
Yeah,
where do they go to check it? So
it's
yeah,
hard.
if
I think
anyone
that's
does need
a
independent
hard thing
advice,
across the board. No, that's a hard one. That is a hard one as well, because that is an issue. I think a systemic issue in older firms. There's a lot of firms out there that have policies, or as in not policies, but procedures that they do that might not sit well with some people. And if you don't know, then you only know what you know. Do you know what I mean? You only know
exactly.
if that's
You
the
also need to ask a question, and sometimes it's like you
Yeah.
don't have anywhere to go to ask a question. So feel free to ask me. And if you're not happy in where you are or the way things are being done, then change it. Do something about it.
No, I love that. Absolutely love that.
Mm.
So if people want to learn more about career, where's the best place for them to
So if anyone wants to know any more about a career in endurance, then feel free to message me or my email, Carla with a K at theprotectionparent.co.uk. Feel free to get in touch, and just remember that you don't always have a straight forward line into what you're going to do. Sometimes it goes around the bend and up and down, but you need to try it rather than regret it. There's no worse than feeling like I wish I'd done this and I haven't been able to do it. Just try it. What's worse that's going to happen? You're going to go back to a job that you don't like and you don't enjoy.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that. I think that's very true. Awesome. See you next week.